the Colts' vivacious owner, Jim Irsay, making an amazing claim. Jim Irsay claiming that he was targeted for being let me check my notes here, a rich white billionaire. Yeah, he talked to HBO Sports, and he also talked about addiction and all that. And the great journalist Andrea Kramer. See, this is actually like kind of journalism, unlike sideline reporting. But Andrea Kramer, that show's being canceled, right? Isn't that this is the last season, I believe, of that Bryant Gumbel show on HBO? I think this is it. Anyway, Irsay admitted in an interview that spanned the globe, they call that wide-ranging in the business. It aired earlier this week. That, of course, he has had many issues with substance abuse. Many people have. Many people listen to the show have had problems with substance abuse. A lot of people have that. He's not unique. But he said it happened following his days as a power lifter. Now, he downplayed the idea that driving while intoxicated arrest a couple years back, and he pled guilty to that, got a suspension. He said that was not really rock bottom. He claimed that the only reason he pleaded guilty to the DWI charge was to, quote, just get it over with. But then he gave the money quote, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Jim Irsay, who never earned $1 himself, he won the genetic lottery. Jim Irsay said, quote, I am prejudiced against because I'm a rich white billionaire. Irsay claiming, if I'm just the average guy down the block, they're not pulling me in. Of course not. Irsay stated of his DWI pullover and eventual arrest. Irsay said, I don't care what it sounds like. It's the truth. The truth is the truth, and I know the truth. Period. Hard stop. So let us discuss the question. Colts owner Jim Irsay saying he was the victim of being a rich white billionaire. What does this signal to you? So I'm going to go first. I've got rhythmic chanting, sparks, and kitchen table. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make the Baba Ganoush. Who's having the Baba Ganoush? No one's having that for Thanksgiving. All right, anyway. Jim Irsay. Now, these quotes are next level, right? These quotes are bananas. But what a mensch. What a mensch Jim Irsay is, right? Now, here I am. I'm coming in. I'm like, oh, man, there's not going to be much happening. And if you do what I do for a living, you appreciate jamokes like Jim Irsay. Like people that are just out there in cuckoo land. You love it. You love it. Giving back to struggling gas bags and blowhards working over the holiday weekend. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Absolutely. Irsay, clearly, here's my diagnosis. He consumes too much media. He's one of these guys. I know a lot of these people. I got friends. I got in-laws that are like this. Irsay consumes too much media. My advice, and I work in media, my advice is to partake in what I do when I eat, intermittent fasting. But you should do it with your media consumption. In our opinion, Jim Irsay, he's horny. He wants to get in on the action, right? Irsay is horny. Everyone else is getting in on this. I want some of that. Give me some of that. You know, he's trying to pray at the church of victimhood. And this wasn't the way it was when I was a kid. One of these things that's changed in my lifetime. But we now live in a world where being a victim is celebrated, at least online. I don't know if it is in the real world, but you gain social media clout, you gain empathy when you're the victim. And it takes away from legitimate victims. Like when there's people that are actually wronged in society, people like me just snicker because it's just like, oh, everyone's a victim. You know, it's like, but Jim Irsay wanted some of that dopamine hit you get from wallowing in the victim vacuum. Right, just hanging out in that victim vacuum. And he figured, here's how I, again, diagnosis. Irsay figured that, hey, it works for everyone else. Why not me? All right? We've said for years that it is absolute blasphemy. Nobody else has this thing. It's absolute blasphemy that these robber barons and titans of industry have been treated so unfairly. All right? Now, our unsolicited advice, I think this is great advice. You're only going to get this on the Ben Maller Show. Our advice to Jim Irsay, he should rally all the peasants, the country bumpkins, that work for him as servants, and I think he should get all of them and then some other aristocrats, and they should take to the streets. 2 words, rhythmic chanting, right? Can you imagine a crowd of flotsam and jetsam with the billionaires in their armor-plated luxury vehicles cruising down the boulevard, and they could chant? The obvious one is no justice, no peace, right? That would be the big one. But how about get up, get down, there's a billionaire movement in this town? How about that? Right? People will come out from everywhere, men, women, and children. The billionaires are out protesting again. I hope they don't burn a building down. All right, now page 2. Another branch of this tree. This is a good story. Like, this is a meaty story. Like, this is a big plate of meat. So we have seen Jim Irsay universally vilified for these comments. And we're a little late to the party, but the question is, with Irsay being attacked from all sides, not just on the Western Front, but from all sides, how do you think he reacted to this? So this part of the story is kind of like the sun rising on the horizon in the East, right? Predictable. And this is more meat. It's red meat in the Hungry Lion's den. And it's kind of like your standard Dick and Dayton measuring contest. You know, the old measuring contest there. My level of anger is higher than yours. I am more offended. It is the Offended Olympics. And it's also like that old song, the old Sparks tune, this town ain't big enough for both of us. It's hilarious. Like random people. Some people claim they're famous. I don't know who's famous, who's not famous. But these people claiming and telling Irsay, like lecturing him on the victim totem pole and pointing out that on that totem pole, Jim Irsay is at the very bottom where the dogs urinate. So just another standard day in the cyber world. All right, last word. So there is more to this story as we unpack it. There's a debate show called First Take. I don't know who watches that. I'm sleeping when it's on. But it's been on for a while, and dozens of people, I'm sure, were tuned in to watch this. Jim Irsay on that show was called an entitled old brat, among other insults. You want to take a guess what Jim Irsay did while that was going on? He lost his mind. He was watching the show. It appears he was watching the show, and he handled it very well, unless he didn't. You see, Jim Irsay threatened to sue our former Fox Sports Radio morning host, Stephen A. Smith, part of the Fox Sports Radio Alumni Association. And so we're going to ask the question right now. As you know, I am not a lawyer, but I play one on the radio. And I have not passed the bar, but I have been to many bars in my time. So Jim Irsay threatening to sue former FSR morning man Stephen A. Smith. Does he have a case? Does he have a case? And I spent several seconds, not minutes, several seconds, about 30, which I guess is more than several. But I spent a fair amount of seconds, 30 of them or so, thinking about this. And this one is rather obvious. Now, I always point this disclaimer out that in the United States, you can sue anybody for anything. However, it doesn't mean you're going to win. And it doesn't mean it's just a frivolous lawsuit. Irsay is, and I say this in air quotes, a celebrity. Okay, he's a celebrity, which is a problem. You can't win a case like this. It's much tougher to win a slander lawsuit. This would be slander. Libel's the written word. Slander is the spoken word. So this would be a slander case because there's a thing called absolute malice. We don't have time to get into it here, but someone that does what I do for a living, you know about slander, you know about absolute malice, you know what you can say and what you can't say. Trust me. Because I've gotten a few cease and desist letters over the years, and when you do that, you learn what you can say and what you can't say. So my advice to Jim Irsay on this one, even though he's talking about suing and threatening to sue, my advice is to go to the kitchen table. Now, why would you go to the kitchen table? Not to have Thanksgiving. No. There's an old legal quote, one of the great quotes of all time when it comes to law, and the quote goes something like this. If you have the facts on your side, you pound the facts. If you have the law on your side, you pound the law. And if you have neither on your side, you just pound the table is what you do. You just pound the table.